in order to deliver the Pay Compass experience, the experience we want for everybody, the experience that all of you deserve, um, we really, have a pretty high standards. We want to make sure that things are done correctly, they're done at the highest levels possible, and that we have full control over those processes. And so, little by little, step by step, we have continued to evolve as a company and create more and more resources, more and more structure, more ways that we can deliver quickly and deliver the way that it should be, and that's what we call internally the Pay Compass experience, right? That you're not picking up the phone having to call an 800 number and get somebody that you don't know, that you're speaking with people that you have a relationship with. We're trying to do as much of the heavy lifting for you as possible, so you can focus on what you do best, which is create relationships, board more deals, sell more deals, that sort of thing. And so, when you rewind a couple of years ago, I think it was probably, 3 years ago at this point, 2.5 maybe, we had a meeting kind of as, the stakeholders in the business talking about, what were some of the things that we really needed to move forward with. And one of them that came out of there was having our own agent portal. And that quickly started off as, okay, let's look at what's out there. We spent a lot of time researching and looked at a lot of different products, and we ended up choosing Iris for a little while. And for any of you who've been around for any time in the industry, Iris is really the kind of the what's deemed as the Cadillac of the industry. It's the one that everybody uses. It is meant to be. That is awesome, Ira. It is meant to be the solution that ISOs can just plug their business into. It has all this flexibility and all this customization. And while there are some great things about it, we really found out that it didn't do everything we wanted to be. We didn't have full control. There was a lot of bugs, and frankly, it was really expensive. And so you're spending that kind of money, you want to have obviously the greatest resources you can, the greatest tool you can. So that's about a year ago or so, we really decided, it's time to develop our own solution. And that was the evolution of Navigo. Obviously we love, navigation themed things, and Navigo is the Latin word for navigate. And, that's where that name came from. And so, this is a huge moment, the kicking off Navigo. Obviously, many of you have been using it already. To kind of officially kick this off, big kudos to Chris for leading the charge on this. Zach, lead developer, Jace, who's recently joined us and really taking this across the finish line, getting a ton done, and a lot more coming in the future, as Chris is going to show. There's gonna be stuff here today that I don't even know is on here because they've been hiding it from me for the last couple months. So I'm gonna learn a lot of stuff that you guys do, but I want you to remember this is the beginning of this agent tool. This is the beginning. This is not the end of it. This is the beginning of where it's starting. And this is one of our highest priorities, to continue to add more and more tools, more and more resources, more and more benefits to Navigo to make your life easier. We have a goal, and I'm confident we will hit it, to create the best agent solution in the industry. And I'm confident we can do that. So without any further ado, I'm going to hand it off to Chris, and I will mute myself and we'll go from there. Chris, it's all yours, brother.
Awesome. All right, let's get started, guys. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen real quick. I did have a request for several agents to kind of demonstrate how you can save a website onto your browser, right? So let me just share that real quick here. 2 seconds. Second. You guys see my screen there with Navigo on half the screen there?
Yes, sir, we can.
Perfect. Okay. Perfect. I was getting the infinity mirror here. So super easy, right? So here's my website, and this is the same for all browsers. What you're going to do, it doesn't really matter the device. I believe it's same on the phone, same on the tablet. Obviously, this is the laptop. You're going to grab this little icon next to your URL up here at the top. This is your URL for those that don't know. And you're just going to pull it onto your desktop right over here. Okay. So then I can rename it. This is a shortcut. So, you know, if you don't want to do bookmarks or anything like that, I can rename this anything I want. Boom, that's it. So when I click on this icon, it's going to show me, it's going to open a new page of Navigo, right? So just open two. That's it. So we are going to do training videos on that as well. I'm working with the developers. We do have a series of training videos. This is going to be one of them, just little things like this that information is out there, but we want you to have it all in one place. Okay. So right now we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's start at the very top. And for those of you that haven't seen Navigo, this is the URL right here. I'm going to go ahead and put it in the chat. I know a lot of agents have used it. A lot of agents, you know, thankfully helped us test it from the beginning. So they, you know, saw the quirks, saw the errors, saw everything. And so it gave us some really good feedback. So I'm going to go ahead and share that URL with you guys as well. Okay, navigo.paycompass.com. So if you try to log in, it says you're deactivated, more than likely you're in the old one, which is dev.paycompass.com. But I will go ahead and put that in the chat right now. Okay. Bingo. All right, so let's get started. So here we are, right? This is the login screen. Super easy. It's very rudimentary, very basic. You got your username, your password. Okay, your username, just so you guys know, will always be first initial last name. When you get created in Navigo, you're going to get an email from Navigo. This is the user invite email. I'm going to go ahead and share what it looks like right here. So it's got your username right here. You just click on get started, set your password. Again, very liberal password, 8 characters, 1 special character, and 1 number, and that's pretty much it. Super easy. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and log in here. Perfect. Okay. Get my other environment. So this is where you're going to log in. I'm going to do the demonstration from a different environment just so you guys see what that looks like as well. It's the same login. All right, perfect. So here's my agent, right? My agent's name is Big Money. I only see my stuff. If you do have a hierarchy where you're above someone in Navigo, the hierarchy will work. So eventually you will be able to see all of your downline, your portfolios and things like that. Right now, you only see what you boarded. As you can see, we do have the Evolve app, so I'm going to go over that with you guys as well. I'm going to want to start, kind of take a little field trip here around the dashboard. I'm going to show you guys today how to start a record. One of the great things about the previous software we use, it had a data sync in the back, so I could log into a portal and see what was syncing and see what the data looked like. The bad news is there was no login component, so you couldn't save the record. And a lot of guys have been around for a while. You know what that's like. With Navigo, obviously you have your own login. You can now save the record. So these are the records that this agent created. This is what your dashboard will look like. Okay, and just like anything else, if you have more than one, you can select your page size down here, page through your records right here. Any of these records, you can click into these and look at these. I'm going to go over these columns here in just a second. I'm also going to show you how to email the application to your merchants, and I'm also going to show you how you can text the application to your merchants. You can do both as well, or one or the other. So pretty interesting stuff here. Again, your username is always going to be your first initial last name, and then your password. It never changes. There's no, there's no expiration for passwords or anything like that. So it's just one password makes it pretty easy for everybody. All right. So let's go ahead and start on the left. So the left, this is going to be a drop-down menu here, and we're going to go over these options here in just a little bit. A lot of people that have used this are familiar with this, but we have several other options now that the developers have deployed on here. So very first one, obviously, is going to be DBA. Once you have 100, 200,000 records in here, you can do a search right up here. Cool thing about this is I can actually adjust these column widths. So, to whatever your preference is. Same thing, I can sort these just like any other sorting feature. I just click at the top and then it sorts it by alphabetical. I like to have it sorted by created date. So we have your DBA, your signer name right here, the DBA address of this merchant, and this is your status column. So this status is going to tell you if this application has been submitted. It'll also tell you if it's incomplete. So most of them are going to be incomplete until you either email it to your merchant, email text it to your merchant, or you submit it through the website using your laptop, phone, tablet, whatever the case may be. And so we'll go over that as well. The second to last is your send date column. Did I email this? Did I text this to my merchant? I don't remember when. If I did or not, I don't really remember. Now you got it right here. So on this particular one, this was sent to the merchant on July 8th, 2024. So I know that this was sent out. I know that the merchant got this email. So let me show you what that email looks like real quick in case you guys haven't seen it. This is the notification that your merchant will receive. Super easy, just like the other software. They click this button, says complete application. It'll have your name on here. This name, this agent's Big Money. So it's going to say, John Smith, Jim Jones, whatever the case may be. So they know it comes from Pay Compass and it's going to come from you. In the future, I'm envisioning obviously white labeling. If you guys have your own brand out there, we can definitely accommodate that as well. All right, so that's what your merchant's going to get. You have your created date column here on the right. We are also going to add a couple other columns, which will be indicator, an attachments indicator. So you can add attachments several different places. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And you're also going to have a progress indicator. So if it is incomplete, I can't really see how incomplete it is, right? So there's going to be an indicator that tells you this particular record has fulfilled all of the required data, so I can then send it off. Or if I want to be old school, I can just print this off, can select view PDF, print it off, it'll download, and then I can get a wet signature. So you do have the option to do that as well. So we'll touch on that as well here just a second. All right, so if you do text your merchant, your merchant is going to get this text notification. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in case you guys can't see that. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Can you guys read that? So this is the text that your merchant is going to get. And again, I'll cover this here a little more in depth. You can email it, you can text it, you can do both, you can do one or the other or neither. Either way, I'm going to show you what that looks like. So this is the text, same thing. They click on it on their phone. The great thing about Navigo is whether you're logged into Navigo or you're a merchant going through the modules of your MPA, it does turn into app mode if you're on your phone or tablet. So this is what it looks like right here. Right? So you don't have to squint, you don't have to zoom in, barely read it. I don't know what I'm doing. It's small, you mess up your password or whatever. This is what it looks like. So in lieu of a mobile app right now, this is what it does. We do have plans, obviously, for a mobile app as well. So I think you guys are really going to like that too. So again, email it, text it, doesn't really matter. Tons of ways to get the MPA to your merchant. All right. If I do a search, right, here's my search. I found my record. I just hit the clear filters button here on the right. Just clears all my filters, takes me back to my main dashboard. So if I'm in a record, right, and I want to go back to the dashboard, there's two ways. I can select dashboard up here in the upper right-hand corner, or I can select the Pay Compass logo in the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to click on that. It's going to take me right back to my dashboard. So lots of ways to get back to the center here. All right, and just like any of the sorting features, like I said, you just click the top arrow, the top of the column. Just showed you guys how you can resize these, make them your own. Again, we're going to add more columns, and then you can change the page size as well. So that's pretty cool. All right, let's talk about the arrow here on the left. Again, two ways you can edit this record if it has not been submitted. Guys, if it's submitted, there's really nothing you can do here except for just look at it. You can't really change anything. When it is submitted, you do get this click path functionality up here. If you don't want to page through all these modules, you just click, I want to see what did I price this as. I just go to my pricing equipment module, and here's my pricing right here. Okay, so again, this is only on submitted. If it's not complete, obviously the merchant hasn't signed it. The system doesn't know that it's complete. You won't see that. So in incomplete records, you do have to click through the next at the bottom there. Okay. Again, so just click on the record if you want to edit it. If it is editable, on the left as well, you can select edit from the menu. Really cool feature here. Let's say you want to fill out this this MPA on behalf of your merchant. There's two ways you can do it. You can go start application, do new application. So I'm going to go ahead and do a new application for you guys and for the people that have not seen this. There's two different ways that you can do this. So I'm going to go ahead and do start application. And again, this is designed typically to be in front of your merchant, right? There's other ways we can email it, text it, which I'll go over here shortly. This is face-to-face. I'm with the merchant. I'm on my laptop, tablet, whatever device you want. At the top, you're going to see we do have the Evolve app in here now. Thanks to Jace, he worked his butt off to get this done. So we do have these available. So I'm going to go ahead and select a first data app. Next field is going to be my preferred portfolio. So if you only have one portfolio, you're a single agent, you don't have to worry about this because we know that this comes from you because of the login. If you have a hierarchy below you and you want to, send it on behalf of one of your agents, you can put their name in here, and this tells us which portfolio that this is going to go in, so we make sure the right people get paid. Okay, this is super important. So I'm going to go ahead and enter this, and I'm just going to go and just put rubbish information in here just so you guys see. As you know, if you've used this or the other software, if I try to hit next and I don't have the required information, it's not going to let me do it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fill this in. Cool thing about the address, as you guys know, it runs on Google Maps. So I just start typing in the address here. It starts giving me suggestions, super easy. And this is the business info. And just like the other software used on the paycompass.com website, it's going to run you through 6 separate modules. And the modules are all the same. It looks very similar. So there's nothing really new. There's a couple new fields, but nothing major. So I'm going to go ahead and put my email in here. And then what I'll do here at the end of this section, we'll stop and then I'll answer any questions anybody has about this so far. Okay. Next is my processing info. Let's put some info in here. Right, you have your sale method. You guys are familiar with this. You can do more than one apply. 100% EMV, 100% Moto. Obviously, there's conditions there where if I select Moto, there's another section that pops up that I have to fill out. So for today's intent purposes, we'll just do this one. Super easy. All right, I'll hit my next. Here's my bank info. Put in my routing. You guys have seen this a million times. And now here's my pricing and equipment setup. Okay, this is where I'm going to put my pricing. Here's my ancillary fees. So we left these blank on purpose. You can charge these. You don't have to. Obviously, it's your business. You can charge as little or as much as you want. You're going to hear us say that all the time. Okay. Down below are other card types, your PIN debit, EBT, things like that, your fleet cards. You can turn those on here. And obviously, those are going to map to the MPA. A new section here is going to be the information and notes. So the very top one is going to be the technology needed. And these are not required fields. So you don't have to put anything in here. The validation rules won't kick in. As you know, these send a note to our service team that gives them a heads up on what you want to do here. So there's 4 sections. Technology needed, super easy. What device, what POS, what terminal, right? Payment details, who's going to pay for it? My merchant, I want to have my residuals, I want it, blah, 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 6 months, same as cash. Shipping instructions, right? Do I want to send it to my merchant? I want to send it home. Do I want to send it wherever? And the very bottom one is going to be account context and notes. Obviously, with underwriting purposes, sometimes less is more, but it doesn't hurt to put in as much information as you can in here because this does not map to the MPA. Okay, this is just for us. We see this. So if you put in something like maybe something we don't want the underwriters to know, we will just leave that off. Doesn't come to us, right? So that's one of the things that we had from the previous software where people were putting a lot of information in there. It was a big paragraph. It was just really muddling up the MPA. And sometimes we would get pens based on some of that stuff. So we've definitely improved that here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move forward here. And here's my signature. So again, if I'm in front of the merchant, I flip my laptop around, my tablet, my phone, Mr. Merchant, here's where you're going to sign. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. If I'm not in front of the merchant and I just want to fill this out because I want to email it later, All I have to do, it's already syncing in the background because I hit the next button. I can hit my dashboard or my Pay Compass logo up here. There's my little record. Here's my record. I think I sorted it wrong. So again, once we have the little indicator that tells you that all the modules are filled out, I can then select email, SMS merchant application. The great thing about this is, so let's say I've already entered an email in there, ctorres@paycompass.com. That's my merchant's email. Okay. But do I want to email? Do I want to send it to that email? I don't have to. I can send it to any email I want. So I'm going to go ahead and enter that email in here. They're going to get that notification I showed you earlier. I can also put in a phone number. Okay, I can do both, one or the other, and they're going to get the notification that I showed you earlier. So that's one of the beautiful things about this software is doesn't have to go to that email. Maybe your email is the owner. Maybe he's not really around. You want to send this to the CFO, the manager, or whomever actually runs the account. You guys have run into that all the time. You can do that right here. Same with the phone number. Okay. All right. If I think I showed you guys this earlier, if I want to print this off for a wet signature, I go to my menu here on the left, view PDF is going to download the PDF for that particular record. Here's my Evolve app. Bingo. Zoom in here. So I can then print this off, take it to my merchant. Here you go, sign it, and then bring it back, and then we'll go ahead and submit it as well. So you do have that option as well, which is really neat. Okay. Awesome. If you do add attachments, which you can do that from multiple places, I showed you in the last module, you can add the attachments. If you forget to add the attachments, right? Not a big deal. You can go right here, add attachments. I want to submit a, voided check, a driver's license, whatever the case may be. I can go ahead and do that right here. Okay. So then when this comes back to us, we already have the attachments. You don't have to send it to sales@paycompass.com. You don't have to send it to the sales coordinators or anybody. It doesn't get lost. It's all in one place. If you want to see the attachments, right? If you want to see the attachments, you can download them right here. Download attachments. Download attachments and download attachments in PDFs. The difference here is you're just downloading the attachments with the top option. The bottom option, you're downloading the attachments and the PDF MPA that comes with it, the signed MPA, as well as what's called the signature of completion. So let me show you what that looks like in case some of you aren't familiar with that. Obviously, you know what an MPA looks like. Signature of completion is this form that we send to the bank that authenticates your MPA. Your MPA will have this record at the top. I'll show you that in just a second. This captures the time. It captures the IP address, time zone, phone number where it came from, obviously the DBA and things like that. And this is how the bank authenticates that this MPA was electronically signed. If you use DocuSign, Adobe, you'll be very familiar with this, okay? So here's my MPA. Let me zoom in at the top here so you guys can see this. So this record up here is the individual record identifier. So as you can see, that's the same record right here, record ID. Okay, just so you know, just curious, that's what we send to the bank. You guys don't see this, but if you do want to download those, this is how you're going to do that. Okay. All right. Super last, almost second last one here. If I want to copy this record, you have multiples, 5, 10, 100, doesn't really matter. You can make a copy right here. Boom, copy. I select yes. And now my copy is right here at the top. Okay. If I want to delete a record, right, I can do that as well. Let's say I made a mistake. Easy, just delete it right here. Now, the only way you cannot delete a record, the system will not let you delete a record, is if it's submitted or if you've emailed it to your merchant. Okay, so if you make a mistake, I don't know what I put in there. You can look in here. You won't be able to delete it. You can contact us. I can delete on the background, on the back end, super easy. But we're finding that sometimes people delete records accidentally. the MPA doesn't get filled out correctly, and then you have a terrible merchant experience, and they're like, what's going on with your technology? It's just bad. So we remove that. But if you do need a record deleted that you cannot delete, just let us know. Contact us, sales@paycompass.com. We can do that easy for you as well. Okay. All right, and I will stop here for questions on this part. There's a bunch of other stuff we're gonna go over. So any questions, Jackie, just let me know.
I'll let go first. He had his hand raised.
I'm sorry?
Albert, do you still have a question?
Oh, yeah.
Albert,
What's up, Greg? All right, so I've been using this since last month.
Yes, sir.
Now, as far as selecting the application, before when we used to send an Evolve application, they had me do it twice. Now can we just pick the Evolve application and just send it to the merchant, and they won't have to re-sign the app?
Correct. So here's why that was happening twice. It was actually only happening once, but the way our process was from the merchant's perspective, it was happening twice. So for those of you who don't know, Evolve obviously is a separate bank from a separate partner. So they have their own onboarding system. The applications we have right now in the paycompass.com boarding tool, the First Data, the TSYS application, those are ones that we send to our main partner Priority. Evolve goes to a different partner, so they have their own boarding tool. So what we do is we go into the portal, take the information that you submitted, whether it was using the paycompass.com boarding tool or Navigo, and recreate that application in their own portal because that's what they require. So when we sent that to the merchant's already got one from Navigo, but now, yes, to answer your question, it's all right here. So the reason it's all in one place is now we've configured it so that we can have that Evolve MPA along with the certificate of completion that they will accept in lieu of us going to their portal and sending it out. So it's similar to a wet signature. We submit that to Evolve, they take it with a certificate of completion, and your merchant only has one boarding process. So yeah, we've definitely improved that.
Awesome, thank you.
Absolutely.
Another question that came in is, can you delete a sent application?
You cannot delete a sent application. You cannot. You can't delete if it's been sent. You can't delete if it's been text. You cannot delete if it's been submitted. But if you do need to delete one, please just let us know. We can delete that for you. And that may change in the future, obviously, as the developers create more functionality with more conditions where we don't want you to accidentally delete records that you shouldn't have deleted. And that was happening before. So we're going to figure that out, definitely.
Another question, do I have to wait to get the login email to sign in?
Do you have to wait to, yeah, we do have to create you. So if you want to be created in Navigo, if you haven't already, just let us know. I can create you easy. You're going to get that user invitation I showed earlier. So okay, if you're not using it, we can create you today. Absolutely. So again, sales@paycompass.com. Hey, I want to check out Navigo, and obviously we'll create you.
Another question, can we move forward and save with the info we do have for the app and move through the pages and complete missing info later? Or must we have all the info before we can move on through the app?
Okay, so that sounds like a two-part question. So the very first one, in order for me to save a record using the new application, I do have to have at least all the information on the first module. So if I fill all this out and I'm missing one field, right, and I click off, it's going to erase it. One of the things you can do, obviously, there's the tax number EIN in here. You can put all ones in here for it to save it on the back end, right, for it to show up on your dashboard, and then you can go in and edit that as you go through. So to kind of answer the question, let me look at an incomplete one here. Here's my incomplete one, right? So let's say I filled this out, don't know my merchant's tax ID, but I want to come back to it. I can just put in, all ones or whatever. So when I look at it, I know that I need to correct this, and then I come back and correct it. So as I correct it, I hit the next button. The next button is kind of like the save button. That'll sync in the background and it'll save my changes. And then I can go ahead and email that whenever it's ready. And again, soon you're going to have a column that shows you the indicator. Is this record completely done? Has it filled in all the required fields of the modules? Then okay, that's ready to go. Because This will allow you, if you only fill out half the modules, it'll allow you to download the MPA, but your MPA will only be half filled out. So there's no point in that, right? So it will allow you to have that visibility to know that it is complete.
Chris, I think the question is maybe more about, can I fill out part of it and send it off for the merchant to fill out the rest of it?
Oh,
I think-
yes, yeah. I'm sorry. Yes, and
No
I'll show
worries,
that
no
here.
worries.
Show that here in just a second.
So I think a critical thing to remember, guys, is that if you think about each of those tabs, Chris, if you could open one of those up, like you think of like each of those tabs as its own screen. You see that down there at the bottom, you got a couple little dots there, or multiple dots there. Each of those are individual tabs. So as you hit next, it's saving the data on that tab. So if you don't hit next, it's not going to know that you're done with that tab and auto save that information.
Another question that came in
Go ahead.
is, are we able to see residuals from this dashboard?
Good question. From this dashboard right now, you cannot, but since you asked, I'm feeling generous. I'm going to show you what that's going to look like in the future.
What are you doing?
So here is a proof of concept that Jace, our developer, created. So as you can see in the upper right-hand corner, compensation will be a tab that you will have access to, and that will be ready for this month's, the 25th of July. That'll be there. Just so you know, it's going to be very rudimentary. It's going to be, I'm really not sure what it's going to be, but it's going to be like, what you're going to be paid soon. You will be able to drill down into every single deal, no matter what bank it's at, no matter what partner it's at, it's going to be in Navigo. Okay, so you'll be able to see to the penny my money on this deal, my profit and loss on this deal, my total right here. Here's what I owe. Here's what I'm getting paid. This will be in here. Now, all that data may not be in here this month because we're still building that functionality out with formulas in the background. But this month, you will be able to see at least what you'll be getting paid within a day or two prior to PayCup is paying.
I want to pause right there and talk about how freaking awesome that is, by the way. That is
Hell yeah.
a huge step in the right direction that we've been wanting to have for a while. And hats off to Chris and Jason and Zach for making that happen. To have everything in one place, we kind of got forced to look into two different places, for a little while. And it's been tough. Like, we've had to email things out to everybody on that. But like Chris said, this first month it's going to be displayed with all the totals, so you'll have it there. And we're Grant and his finance team are working on turning that around as fast as possible so it can be in here as quickly as possible. But in coming months, you'll have additional abilities to drill down and really see everything as we continue to perfect this more and more. So that's a huge step. Love that.
Absolutely. And then, sorry, somebody had a question?
Hey Chris, it's Matt. Real quick, are we going to be, I didn't quite hear, maybe it was already answered, but are we going to be able to see the evolve margins on here?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Every bank of every deal that you have with PayCompass, you guys may or not know this word, diversified, especially on the high risk side, 30, 35, 36 different banks. No matter where that deal is, if it's in your portfolio, you're going to see it here. Now, the long-term plan is going to be to have APIs to these banks. Right now, we're entering the information from the finance team based on what they're giving us, but we want to make sure that data is correct. So the future is we're going to have direct APIs from the banks to Navigo.
sweet.
Yes, sir. I think Carol had a question, Jackie.
Yes, sir. First of all, I've used a lot of different application type of things, and this is really great. I am absolutely loving this. I've been using it quite a bit, and just have a couple of questions. So if we text an application and the customer fills it out, does it email me that they've completed it?
Good question, Carol. Good question. The answer is absolutely. Here's what it looks like right here. When your merchant fills out the completes it, or when the application is submitted on your device, or you text it or you emailed it, doesn't matter. Once it's submitted, you're going to get this notification in your inbox right here. So you will know when it's been submitted. Absolutely.
Beautiful. And then the next question is, it's a comment. I do have an application as soon as we submitted it, they said, oh, well, we're gonna change owners in the next week. So there are applications where we need to delete an app. So great to know we can just send it to you guys to get that done.
Absolutely.
You know,
And that's, yeah.
go ahead.
So that's a perfect example, Carol. You know, let's say, you know, you got bad information, whatever that happens every single day. I need to replace the owner that they gave me the wrong soch. Doesn't really matter. You can make real quick copy right here, boom, and then just go ahead and send a new one out. Right now, on minor things, let's say, you know, you left off something really small, maybe a fat finger, the phone number or the soch. We won't need a new MPA. But let's say, you know, I wanted to change the pricing. I wanted to change the signer. The bank will require a new MPA, a new signature, but you got it right here, super easy. You know, whether you went to the merchant in person, they signed on your device. Now I'm at home, crap, I just realized it. You know what? Let me call them. Let me text it to them. Hey, I'm going to text you a new MPA. Just need you to authorize it. And it's fast. No more driving, you know, however far we have to drive.
Awesome. I have two more quick things and then I'll go on.
Sure.
Since I used that, everything on the left, my arrows are all gray and yours are color. Is there a particular reason?
Yeah, so these colors actually denote the type of application. First data is going to be orange, thesis is navy, and evolve is green.
Okay.
That's kind of how we track that stuff. You also have the type here on the column. I'm sorry, the column called type, so you know as well.
Yeah. And then the last question is, when I'm in the middle, you know, I'm completing an app. Can you click on one of these?
Absolutely.
Okay. So when I go into this, I want to get down to the end and download or do something different, for example. And I've been trying to click on these dots, like maybe the fourth or fifth one, but it makes me click on each one. Is there a way to jump forward without having to hit next 5 times?
So on applications that are not that are incomplete, it doesn't allow that. It's only when the application has been submitted, and I'll show you that you have that click path at the top. So this one right here, Joe test right here. So if it's been submitted, then yes, you can. We are working on having this possibly for incompleted applications. The reason being is there's validation rules that run on the background because a lot of these fields are required. And we have found that if we let you go from module to module, sometimes some of those required fields get missed. And in the aggregate, you end up in pending longer than you do filling these out. So it's kind of a functionality to save you from that error. But the developers are working on ways to kind of circumvent that without having that danger of missing required fields.
Perfect. That's
I
all
hope
I
that makes
had. This
sense.
thing is really cool.
I'm glad you like it. Glad you like it.
Also, I wanted to mention real quick, guys, for those of you who have been using Navigo already, and maybe this looks a little different, or you're like, oh, I didn't know that feature was there. A lot of these features were in development until early this morning. So some of these features were just pushed out this morning in anticipation of this call and are now live. So
Yep.
that will explain maybe some of the things you see that might be a little different than what you're used to.
Yep, everything I'm showing here is live in the navigo.paycompass.com portal. So we deployed it last night. I tested it. The developers tested it this morning. There's a couple glitches. We fixed it and we're good to go. So on that note, if you do see anything where you get an error message or there's something wrong, keep in mind this is new software. If you could help us out, just send me a screenshot. Hey, I was going from one module to another and it did this. You know, that's how I give them the feedback and that's how we make the tool better.
Really quickly, Chris, I'm trying to
Yep.
get onto my Navigo and it's saying that my account be inactive. Is that something that is an easy switch or easy fix?
Yeah, we kicked you off actually. Sorry about that. Let me just kidding.
Damn it.
Go check. You might be going to dev.paycompass.com, Matt.
I did that. I reset my password and everything.
Right. So that's you want to go to navigo.paycompass.com. And I did put that URL in the chat here. So
Okay.
Matt, I think you were one of the early testers.
I was.
So again, you and a handful, I think Chad and Justin Farnsworth and several of you guys might have that old URL, but you know, do what you can to kind of purge that from your system because it will give you an inactive. But all new users were ported over into navigo.paycompass.com.
All right. I'm on there right now.
Perfect. And I think
Wanted to give you a time check. We have 20 minutes left if we want to save the questions towards the end if you have more to present.
Okay, yep. I'll answer a real quick question. Mary had a quick question about attachments. So the attachments, the new attachments, Mary, still is on the final module, but right here on the left, you can add attachments from the dashboard. So you can do that. And we're actually gonna, we're thinking of having the attachments added to every single module. So no matter which module you're at, you think of it, oh, here's my voided check, here's my driver's license. But for now, you can do it at the very end as well as right here from the dashboard. All right.
I
Awesome.
believe Chad had one question.
Okay.
Does he still have a question? Chad?
Who was it?
Hey, I was just gonna make a comment. Yesterday, I haven't really been on Navigo a lot, just for anyone wondering about the ease of use. I submitted an app yesterday. It was my first, I had the merchant on the phone and nothing like looking at this ahead of time, which I didn't do. I literally opened it with the merchant and without any kind of instruction, it was absolute cake. I mean, I knew right where to go just by guessing because it was pretty basic and it took a couple minutes. And so if you haven't done it yet, you know, a lot of these explanations sounds like it gets more involved, but once you try it, it was literally, there was nothing to it. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Good. I'm glad. And that's the design. That's the design. We want to make it easy. We want to make it fast, right? That's all the tools that you should be that. So all of our tools are going to be designed like that. Thanks, Chad. All right, let's get to the fun, some more fun, right? Partial application. How do I send a partial application? Same thing. Start application, partial application. Again, doesn't matter what device you're on, you're going to have this option in here. So here I am, partial application. I can determine, I can fill out any of these modules. I have to fill out at least one, right? If I can, you know, if I want to fill out the pricing and equipment, let's just go ahead and do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and fill out the processing. My guess is processing and pricing and equipment is probably going to be the least ones where you don't want the merchant to fill them out, right? So I go in here, I select my modules. I select my application type. I put in my DBA. I can put in an email address here or a phone number or both or either or I can put none in here and it behaves differently. So I'm going to show you what it looks like when I do put in an email address. All right, so here I go. I'm going to go ahead and hit start. I put in my email address. It takes me right to the processing info module. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this out. And then it's going to take me to my pricing module. We'll fill that out. Big annual fee. All right, and then I'm just going to skip the rest of this, not really required, just so you guys see what it does. If I want to add attachments, I can do that here as well. Boom. So now I know that's been sent out. When the merchant authorizes this, the attachments will also be there. So I have that ready to go. Okay, so let's start at the top again. I'll do the same thing, partial. Actually, I'm just going to do bank. Now, I'm not going to put anything in here. I'm not going to put any email. I'm not going to put a phone number or anything like that, just so you see what it does. The only difference is this doesn't have anywhere to send it. So all it does is save it in the background. I think I'm selecting the wrong one here. So it's super easy. So as you can see right here, my test incomplete. There's no data here because I didn't put anything other than banking information. It did go out 7/9/2024. Now, when the merchant authorizes, again, you're going to get a notification. This will switch to submitted. And then, of course, we get a notification and then we process it. Now, in the future, this status column is going to be pretty important because this is also going to be tied to the live status of wherever bank we sent it. It's in pending, if it's approved, if it's conditionally approved, if it's declined, whatever the case may be, you're going to be able to see that right here once we have those APIs hooked up. Okay, so right now it's just, is it done or is it not? That's basically it, right? But soon you're going to be able to see that. A lot of information here. All right, so again, real cool thing. If I want to email it, to whomever I want to email. It doesn't have to be the merchant's email or the merchant's phone number. So you have that flexibility. If you want to do all of the modules, click start. It's going to run you through the very beginning. It's the same thing as if you were just to select start application, new application. Same thing. I can print it off for wet signature. I can email it to my merchant. I can text it to my merchant, whatever the case may be. Since it has not been sent off to my merchant, it's not submitted, I can still delete it. So if you want practice, feel free. All right, one caveat I would say when we're when sending these out, and this isn't about Navigo, this isn't about any CRM or anything like that, is, you know, really set the expectation with your merchants. You know, we see hundreds of deals a month where agent sends the MPA out, the merchant gets it, they put in all 9s for their social security number, all 0s for the year end, or put in 1, 2, 3, 4 Main Street for their location, their DBA. It's going to get pending. So just let your merchant know, hey, you got to put legit information in here. It's there for a reason. It has to be verified by the bank. Otherwise, you know, we're just right back here sending it out again, skipping a day, skipping or 2 or 3 days sometimes. All right. And I'll go ahead and stop for questions here as well on the partial.
There's a
boy.
question that came in. If you do partial and check certain boxes, but then get more info that are in the boxes that you did not check, can you go back in and add before submitting or sent to merchant?
So yes, so if you do a partial and you have not sent it, like oh, did I do one? I think I did this one. Then yes, I can go back in. I can either do edit from the menu, or I can click on the record, and it's going to take me to the very first business module where I can then enter my information. But again, we're back to, you got to be able to at least have all the rest of the information in this particular module for it to save it. So if I try to save it without some of this info, it's going to give me the validation rules are going to kick in and not allow it. But if you can't answer the question as a whole, yes, you can go back in and modify these as long as it has not been submitted.
There is a question that had just came in right before that one. Since it will be reporting residuals, will you be attaching previous mids we've signed?
Yes. So we're not really sure what the compensation structure, if it's going to be a table, it's going to be dashboards, but all of your deals, if you're getting paid by Pay Compass for a deal, doesn't matter the amount, it's going to be in here. Doesn't matter if you boarded it from day one or you boarded it yesterday, it's all going to be in here. It's all going to be in here. Good question.
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry. So as far as that, so everything's going to be in here on Navigo, which is killer. Now, I do notice that MX updates usually like 15th, 16th, 17th. Should we expect the same thing, or just expect before the 25th of what the accounts have done?
Yeah, so that's about when we get the information, I believe is around the middle of the month, and then Grant's team process it depending on when that day falls. But as soon as that information is done, which should be on average at least 2 or 3 days before the 25th, it will be in Navigo. And obviously when we have the back end, the APIs talking to Navigo, it'll be like the second it's up there, it's going to be here, instant and accurate.
Hey, Chris, it's Joe in Rhode Island. How are you?
I'm doing well, my friend. How are you?
Good. Just to clarify, a quick question. If you do make a mistake and it's sent out, are you allowed to create a new application, or is it going to catch thinking that the file's already been created, like if with the address or something?
Right. So you can, yeah, even if it's been sent out, you can still copy it. You can make a copy. Right now, like I said, you can't delete it. So if you do need to delete one, you'll have to let us know. For now, there will be a delete option for ones that you have sent out. We just have to change something on the back end where it doesn't do anything catastrophic if you delete the record accidentally. And that's the reason why we took that off for now.
Hey, Chris,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
Carol. I made a mistake on a social security number and sent it to the customer. They didn't catch it and signed it. But it does, when it does come back, Bree and them catch it. Boy, they caught that first off and they corrected it for me, and I didn't have to do anything new.
Yep. And again, for those that you don't know, when we get these notifications, the sales coordinators give the application a once over. So we catch mistakes. You set it at flat rate, but you set the discount paid to monthly, or it's interchange plus, but you put 3.5% or 350 basis points. I love those deals, but it's probably flat rate. So we catch those when we see those, definitely. All right, so let me finish up here, guys. I know we're low on time here. I just kind of want to talk about the future of Navigo. What's that going to look like besides compensation, right? You're going to be able to do, you're going to be able to, your merchant's going to be able to apply for their loans through our lending partners. You're going to be able to apply for payroll. That's going to be part of here. Obviously, the bank APIs, other ancillary products. The look of Navigo is going to change here shortly. We are going to have a company come in, UX, UI company, zhuzh it up, make it more modern. Right now, this is kind of the studs right now that the developers developed, but we are going to make it very cutting edge. And so we've committed a lot of resource, a lot of time and energy, and I think you guys are really going to like that. Another thing that I'm doing is training videos, like how do I start an application? How do I send a partial application? We will have training videos in here for that. We're in the works of getting those set up and then deploying them to the website. So you should have that. So it's designed to be self-sufficient. You don't need us for anything. Obviously, on the back end stuff, this is going to save you time. It's going to save you energy and frustration, definitely. Obviously, I'm the director of sales here. I'm in charge. I'm the project manager, but I want to take a quick second to recognize the two developers that have really made a big impact on this. Obviously, Jace Alexander is our newest employee, our newest developer. He's here. He sits about 50 yards from me. So if I need to, I can go slap him around a little bit, fix stuff. Zach Somcam is our off-site developer. He's been the main developer, and he's worked his butt off, nights and weekends fixing this stuff. He's very responsive. If there are errors, he fixes it within 10 minutes. So again, if you do see errors, please let me know. It's not something that takes days or hours or weeks to fix. We're very agile. We can fix that on the fly. Okay. I know the other tool, I think one of the plans will be to sunset that tool. We haven't really talked about what that looks like right now. You can use both if you want. Again, any emails, send me sales@paycompass.com. But, one thing I want everyone to kind of keep in mind is PayCompass is we're always looking for the best tools. We're always going to the shows. We're always looking for the cutting edge technology. So if we can't find a tool out there, we're making our own tools. So one day PayCompass will be an IT powerhouse. I promise you this is the beginning, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's gonna be so much more, and I think you guys are really gonna enjoy that. So that's all I got.
Chris, I wanted to add a couple things real quick to this as well. A lot of questions about what are the future of Navigo, and Chris definitely talked about that as well. Really anything and everything, trying to make it as self-sufficient as possible. Even think future, we haven't even really gotten to this yet, but even think future of the Navigo version of the merchant portal as well, a whole other side of it that once the APIs are done, that we'll be able to do. But from an agent standpoint, of course, the ability to onboard deals, but being able to see merchant statements, transaction data, looking at volume information, top 25, all those sort of things are going to be there, are going to be part of it. The ability to, we're going to have a whole part of it that is going to be dedicated to marketing resources. So slicks and, download information, find videos on demos of various products, make requests of things like, hey, I need to do a DDA change, or I need to do maintenance. I'm not saying everything will be able to be done on there, but the ability for you to do those requests if you want to. Of course, you'll still be able to pick up the phone and call, text, email, all those sort of things. But we want to have those resources available for you in Navigo. So if you want to just make a request there or want to make some quick changes, you'll have the ability to do that. Request, hey, I need to order some more business cards. Quick request in there as well. So the goal is going to make this really the greatest agent portal in the industry. I'm confident we'll get there. And little by little, step by step, Chris and Jace and team are going to make that happen for sure. And regarding the uploading of videos, I haven't even updated that on for Jackie. I finally got access to that last night. It's been kind of quite a show since John's passing and trying to access some of those things, but I was able to get access to it. So we'll get some of the previous videos uploaded as well as this one yet today.
There's still a couple more questions coming in the chat.
Okay.
When would we use Evolve, and is Navigo going to replace MX Connect?
So good question. So Evolve is one of our partner banks. Obviously, there's certain benefits to that. One of my goals is to put a descriptor up here for each application. In fact, we do have some product changes that we will be rolling out here shortly. So once we get those finalized, there'll be a little descriptor in there on why you would want to use this one versus another one. And then what was the second part of your question? Sorry, Jackie.
Will Navigo replace MX Connect?
Yes, yes. Navigo will replace everything.
Okay. Next question, will we be able
Quick question. Hold on, quick question, Jackie. I want to talk about something real quick. But why using Evolve over Synovus? I mean, Synovus and Wells Fargo are our go-to. There are some, there are times when, because you need a later cutoff time or some various things where Evolve is beneficial. But Chris kind of alluded to it, and we're not going to talk about it too much today, but there's a massive change coming with some benefits through Synovus Bank that you're all going to love, that we'll hope to be releasing here very soon. We're doing some testing on it right now, but we're talking about probably the latest cutoff times in the industry that I've ever seen. So stay tuned for that coming soon.
Next question.
You're saying latest cutoff, then still having next day funding?
That is correct, sir. That is correct.
I told you.
Hey, you can always cut off late if you want to. Just not gonna get your funds the next day.
I sell merchant services, so any place that, basically credit card swipe machines.
Yeah.
So I never stop doing that. I'm not gonna always do that. So if I can sell one deal, it's basically a conference call for a new POS system setup.
Jackie, I think you can mute Dan there. I think it is
very rarely has anything that's mandatory.
Yeah.
Like
Any
it's
other
stupid.
questions
I
on
just
this,
have
guys?
to have it on so they can see me in there. But
You're on mute.
basically,
Jackie,
I don't know
can
if you
you
even
mute
know.
him?
I didn't even really realize how that credit card shit
Jackie,
worked
can you mute him?
until I got.
I thought
There we go.
I thought he was.
I don't think
talking
he
to one of
realized. I
you.
thought he was asking a question first too. Sorry.
Okay. Will we be able to account updates like price changes or bank account info?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yep, you'll be able to click into your account, and then there'll be menu, there'll be options. Here's what you want to do. I want a bank change, I want this change. That form will also be electronic. It'll be tied to the service team.
Another question, will equipment ads also go through Navigo?
Equipment ads.
Yes.
I think they mean adding
Like-
equipment. So saying like, hey, I need to add another terminal to this place. I want to order a terminal.
yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's gonna be self-service features in there as well on the roadmap.
Yep.
And what we're doing, guys, we want your feedback. So please keep it coming. I know Chris will ask that 1,000 times. Keep the feedback, keep the suggestions coming. We're constantly evaluating and trying to prioritize what's the next most important thing to have. And that sort of stuff is based on your feedback for sure. Carol, yes, it will reflect the AR balance of equipment. Yes.
And then there's a suggestion from Albert to have Navigo notify us via text, email when residuals are posted, just like Iris does.
I love that. That's a great idea.
Great idea.
Absolutely.
And you guys
Absolutely.
might have said it, but when can we expect to start being able to see residuals and everything on there?
This month, more than likely a couple days prior. As we perfect the system, it'll be shorter and shorter depending on when we get the information. So it'll be there this month, and then next month you'll see a little bit more information, and it'll be faster as well.
When they pick a BMW.
Chris
over-
publicly said that. Did you
or
hear that?
it could
This
be
month.
over a
Good deal.
Toyota.
All
It's
right.
like these little things you start to
There you go.
sum up. They're like, oh, generally.
Hey, Chris, it's Marty.
People are like,
Hey,
yeah,
Marty.
it seems a
Is
lot
there
more.
any way to get it to show us if a merchant hasn't batched out in a certain amount of time, like a text notification or something like that?
Absolutely. There will be notifications like that. There'll be a series of notifications that you can turn off and turn on. based on your merchant. Like, think Justin said Beyond had one where they hadn't batched at all, or they hadn't started processing, something like that. And I know Steve used to log into MX ISO just to see if they started processing. So that information will absolutely, you'll get notifications.
All that will flow after we have the API integrations done, which is, you know, a little bit of heavy lift. I mean, it's one thing to get the API done and the data pulling in. It's then once the data is there, how do we display that data? What do we do with all that data? That's where things get a little more complicated. But once we're receiving that data on a regular basis, and the APIs are working to where everything's just push, pull, you know, or, you know, mainly pull as fast as possible. You know, coming from, you know, like for instance, Priority and all of our processing partners, once that data is in there, then we can start playing around with various things like, you know, notifications and that sort of stuff. So that's one of the next heavy lifts and one of the next top priorities for Navigo.
All right. Anything else?
Merchant consumer lending.
Yes.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Navigo, yes, you will be able eventually to apply for those. You know, if you have any questions regarding that right now, sales@paycompass.com, we can help you there. But yes, you'll be able to apply for merchant lending, payroll, all ancillary products will be in there.
The goal is to slowly add more and more
Wait,
features.
can I say something?
Go for it, Nolan.
Hey, Nolan.
So is that going to be accessible to like a business that is selling something at a very high price, right? To where they could push that financing off to their consumer through Pay Compass? Because that's what I'm talking about. I don't know if we were on the same page or whatnot.
So then you're talking to buy now, pay later, correct? I think
That
that's
kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
financing option through Pay Compass. Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely. That will be there as well.
We're working on a partnership right now, Nolan. I mean, buy now, pay later is already an option for e-commerce merchants. We can add those. There's multiple options. That's just an addition. You select an option when you're creating the gateway or the merchant at at their shopping cart and their checkout. So those things can be added, no problem. That's quick and fast and easy on the e-commerce side. But where it's been kind of missing, and we've actually identified a partner or working with a partner that has that missing piece, is the finance option for in store, right? I walk in and you know, suddenly my transmission went bad and I don't have the ability to pay for it, or, you know, I got to get a root canal and I can't pay for it, you know, things like that. That's been kind of a missing piece, but we have a partner identified. We're kind of working through the final steps of that partnership agreement now, and we'll have that available here soon.
One more question had came in. What about if merchants want to give their customers loans to spend money with them?
If the loans to spend money with them.
Well, no, you already answered it. So, like, I was just
Oh,
I have
okay.
a guy that's like wanting to extend out. Like, a guy has a tree that's $5,000 and he doesn't have the money for it. So he wants to be able to go to his processors and say, "Hey, can you get this guy approved for basically for a loan?" We're already, like you said, we're working on it. So.
Yep, that's the
So like
best part. Yep.
consumer loans.
Yeah.
Those were all the
All right.
questions. in the chat.
Awesome.
We will have this uploaded to the YouTube channel fine here by the end of the day. It'll be there, and we will send out a notification to let everyone know that their YouTube's been updated and they're there. So if you just go to the Pay Compass YouTube channel, all previous Toolbox Tuesdays are there. Well, not every single one, but most of them are there, and we're going to work on getting the missing ones up there shortly. All right. Y'all done, Chris?
That's it. That's my show.
All right, guys. I want to thank everybody for coming. Thanks to Chris and Jason, Zach for making this happen, and much more of this to come for sure. Please keep giving us your feedback and thoughts on it so we can keep building this out more and more. All right. Thanks much. Have a great day, everyone. Appreciate you much.